Welcome back. For anyone interested in learning a new language, we've got the guide for you. Joining me right now, world-renowned polyglot Steve Kaufman. Steve, you speak 20 languages, right?
Well, I don't speak them all equally well, but I have learned and at times spoke 20 languages, but certainly half of them or so I can quite comfortably converse in and understand.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, we understand you are a part-time resident of the Valley.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how you got started in learning all these different languages.
Well, when I was like 17, I got interested in French. Then I went to France. I took my university training in France. Then I joined the Canadian government, and they sent me off to Hong Kong to learn Mandarin Chinese. Then we lived in Japan, and in business, I needed Swedish, I needed Spanish, I needed other languages. And since the age of 60, which is like 16 years ago, I decided to learn Russian, and so I've learned about 10 languages since the age of 60.
Wow, so probably having been well-traveled made you have that interest in learning all the languages of the places you went?
Partly, or the opportunity, but also the realization that it's not that difficult to do.
Okay.
And that the way to do it is to expose yourself to a lot of the language through listening and reading, and not to worry too much about grammar or speaking correctly and all of those things that they put in front of us in the school system typically.
Okay, interesting to know. Now, out here in the Valley, it's pretty important that people are bilingual because many people speak Spanish.
Right.
But it is daunting for some of us to say, especially as an adult, oh, I think I can learn a new language. You worry that you won't be able to pick it up quickly.
Right. I think people worry about speaking correctly, which really doesn't matter. You'll eventually speak better and better. And also, they don't realize that they can do a lot on their own. So you can read and you can listen. I have my MP3 player. I make breakfast listening to Arabic, which I'm learning right now, or Persian. I'm in the car. Focus on getting the language in you. Build up your comprehension, and there are ways of doing that, and then worry about how well you speak.
Okay, now we've heard Rosetta Stone. That's somebody that's always mentioned. There's another one, Babbel. What do you think about how technology has changed the course of learning a new language?
Technology has exploded language learning. First of all, there's so many resources on the internet, from YouTube to Netflix to newspapers you want to read. And then there's functionality like Link, which is the site that I've developed with my son, which enables you to use those resources. And you can carry with you in your pocket more listening and reading content than was in a university language lab 20 years ago.
Okay.
So it's exploded.
So tips for somebody who wants to learn.
Okay, I think number one is figure out a way to enjoy it. If you enjoy it, because you have to put in the time, because it's not like overnight, and you also have to expose yourself constantly to the language. So find a way to listen to things that are of interest to you. Difficult to do at the beginning, so at French or whatever, Korean.
Will you begin to like it? Like, will you find it enjoyable?
You have to like it.
Okay.
And that's why you don't want to kind of put pressure on yourself to speak correctly. It doesn't matter. People aren't judging you. Focus on building up your vocabulary, your comprehension. Focus on enjoying the process, and you'll get there.
What was the hardest language for you to learn?
Well, they're difficult for different reasons. With Chinese, of course, you have the characters to learn, right? The Slavic languages have complicated grammar. I'm finding, for example, Arabic is much more difficult than Persian. Those are the two languages that I'm learning right now. The more similar the vocabulary is, like English to Spanish is not bad. You know, French to Spanish, Spanish to Portuguese, very easy.
Do you ever get confused?
Of course. Of course. Confusion is good. Errors are good.
Okay.
No problem.
Do you ever get intimidated? Say you're speaking to somebody who's fluent in French and you're,
No, I mean, it wouldn't be the case with French. I mean, I know which language I'm good at. You know, French, Spanish, or Spanish, Japanese, Chinese. If it's a weaker language, okay, I ask them again, or, I work harder on my comprehension. I don't get intimidated. What can happen to you? They're not going to hit me.
But guess which language Steve doesn't know? Greek.
I know. Milo Elenika.
You do know. You said you know,
yes,
but it's not one of your strongest.
It's one of the languages that I learned well enough to go to the country, but that's 3 years ago, and since then I've gone after 3 or 5 other languages. Now, you can't maintain them all.
That's right.
You can focus on one and become perfect, maybe, which you won't be, but try. Or, as I like to do, I like to explore. And by exploring, Greek and Persian and Arabic, I get a sense of these other countries.
The cultures and
cultures and histories and so forth.
If you plan for a trip, I'm sure you plan to learn the language.
Exactly. It's not about perfection.
So if somebody wants to learn a language, I know you offer that service as well.
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
we have your website.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we have 40 languages, and also go to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is for free. All of the content we have at Link is downloadable for free.
Awesome.
If you start to use some of our functionality, then there is a monthly fee.
All right, now, I want to ask you to say something, your most challenging or complicated phrase, and I'm going to guess what language it is.
Well, let's see. Okay. 我同你而家咧，我同你講中文，不過唔係國語，係乜嘢語言咧？
Korean.
No, that's Cantonese. So I said I'm going to speak to you in Chinese, but not in Mandarin. 不是这个普通话. It'll be in Cantonese.
Steve Kaufman, you're a real joy. Thank you for taking time to speak with us today. Enjoy the valley while you're here.
I do. Every day is sunshine. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back. You were fantastic.
Okay.
Yay!